Austin Butler rose to fame as James Wilk Wilkerson in the television show Switched at Birth in 2011. Prior to this, he had been known for appearing in Disney shows like Wizards of Waverly Place and Hannah Montana. Today, he is known for his roles in Hollywood blockbusters like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Elvis. Here are 10 things you probably didn't know about Austin Butler. He is a born and raised Californian. Just for a little background information on this heartthrob, Austin Butler was born on August 17, 1991 in Anaheim, California, to two parents and an older sister. He comes from English and Finnish ancestry. He was even homeschooled for most of his education to focus on his acting career. He didn't plan to be an actor, with a career dating back to his childhood, boasting roles in Disney and Nickelodeon productions, as well as multiple movie parts, and now the breakout role in Lumen's biopic. Butler seems to be standing on the cusp of a stellar Hollywood career. But this wasn't always the plan for the California native. As a child, he showed an interest in the arts, teaching himself to play the guitar and piano at a young age. However, his entry into acting came about by chance meeting when he was 10 years old. Speaking to Vanity Fair in 2020, Butler revealed that it was while tagging along when his stepbrother went to LA for a commercial audition that he was asked if he too would like to read for a part. He said, "I don't know what came over me, but I said yes. They handed me a commercial, Oreos or Welch's grape juice or something, and I go up in front of a camera after all these children. I was shaking, but I did it, and that led to me being an extra at 10 years old." After landing a regular job as a background actor on the Nickelodeon show Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide in 2005, he got a manager and started acting seriously. He was a millennium teen heartthrob. In 2007, he scored a vital role on the Disney Channel series Hannah Montana, where he played Miley Cyrus' love interest, Derek Hansen, in a Season 2 episode titled My Best Friend's Boyfriend. In the episode, Miley called Derek the worst date of her life after jumping into her lap during a frightening movie scene. He also played the role of Jake Crandall, the school heartthrob who couldn't sing, in iCarly's I Like Jake episode. After the success of his appearance, Butler began booking roles on both Nickelodeon and the Disney Channel. He played James Garrett, the love interest of Zoe in Nickelodeon's Zoe 101. He also portrayed Lance in the Cartoon Network series Out of Jimmy's Head. Butler also appeared in the film Aliens in the Attic with High School Musical's Ashley Tisdale, Ruby and the Rockets, and the television film Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. The actor's career continued to skyrocket as he segued from teen television series to feature films and Broadway. He was sort of embarrassed by his Disney Channel past. Don't be cruel about Austin Butler's child star past, because it led him to where he is today. Just weeks before the Elvis actor jets off to Cannes for the premiere of the Baz Luhrmann historical epic, Butler revealed to Vogue that his Disney Channel roles still weigh on his mind. "I was sort of embarrassed about some of the things that I had to do, but I had to cut my teeth somewhere, so I decided to treat each one of these jobs as a way to grow." He wanted to work with Quentin Tarantino. Butler always had high aspirations when it came to the kind of productions he wanted to act in, listing Raging Bull, The Basketball Diaries, and What's Eating Gilbert Grape as movies he admired. Speaking to GQ, the actor said, "I printed out the Pulp Fiction script when I was 12, and I'd read it to my mom in the car. That was my dream from 12 years old. I said, Quentin is the director I want to work with." That wish came true when he played Tex Watson, a rabid Manson follower, in the iconic director's 2019 movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He almost quit acting. Butler opened up about quitting acting altogether. As Vogue reported, he went to buy the nicest camera he could afford in hopes of becoming a director instead. That plan got deterred, however, when he booked roles in The Dead Don't Die and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He said, "It felt like the stars were aligning. I just said, I'm going to dedicate everything I have to this." He used the pain from the death of his mother Laurie from cancer in 2014 in his acting. He has spoken openly about how he created the audition tape that landed him the part of Elvis in Baz Luhrmann's movie, opening up about how he channeled pain from the death of his mother from cancer several years earlier, when he was 23, into his performance. After trying to film an audition tape for the movie and feeling like it wasn't authentic, the actor despondently went to bed where he had a nightmare that his mother was alive again, but dying. Just days earlier, Butler had learned that Elvis too had lost his mother when he was 23 and thought about how he could use the parallel. He told Vogue, "I sat down at the piano in my bathrobe and just started fiddling. I'd been practicing Unchained Melody for a while, but I'd always been singing it to a lover. That night, I sang it to my mom. I wasn't trying to look and sound like Elvis. I wasn't trying to do anything but take that emotion and pour it into the song. Despite the lack of polish, Austin was wearing his dressing gown in the tape. The video was compelling enough to land him the film's eponymous role, despite director Baz Luhrmann considering bigger names like Harry Styles. How he got into character as Elvis. Butler admitted that he may have taken preparing for the role too far, admitting it was hard to transition out of it once filming ended. You can lose touch with who you actually are, and I definitely had that when I finished Elvis, not knowing who I was. However, he added that felt especially passionate about the project because of the connection he felt to the late king of rock and roll. I've never loved somebody I've never met more than Elvis. It's comforting to me now when I get in the car. I'll just go, what do I want to listen to? Usually, I just end up popping on Elvis. The actor said that the more he learned about Elvis, the more he could relate to the iconic singer. This was especially true when he learned both of their mothers had passed away when they were 23 years old. When I learned that, it was one of those things where I got chills, and I just thought, okay, I can connect to that. He explained that when production was delayed for 6 months in March 2020, he used it as an opportunity to get even more in character, starting with putting images of Elvis around his living space. Just images of Elvis everywhere, from every time period. I think the film would have been very different if we had started shooting at that point, and I'm grateful I had the time to let myself marinate. He risked his health to play Elvis. Some actors aren't afraid to put their health on the line for a role, and that includes Austin Butler. He recently opened up about how he went to the extremes to prepare for his titular role in Elvis, and how it eventually landed him in the hospital. In an interview with GQ, Butler revealed that he had had a health scare the day after they wrapped up filming in March 2021. He explained, "I woke up at 4 in the morning with excruciating pain, and I was rushed to the hospital. My body just started shutting down." He was ultimately diagnosed with a virus with similar symptoms to appendicitis. He was on bed rest for a week afterwards. He was cast as Elvis after an endorsement from Denzel Washington. Back in 2018, Butler had been busy on Broadway, acting alongside Washington in the production of The Iceman Cometh. At that time, it's safe to say that Denzel Washington barely knew Butler, but the younger actor was determined to change that. Butler said, "There's that thing where you meet your heroes, and you want to be their best friend. I was like, that's not going to happen. So, I went into the quickest mentality of I'm not going to try to be his friend, I'm just going to try to do work as well as I possibly can." He strived to be a consummate professional while working with Washington, and eventually, he got his attention. Washington also decided to take his co-star under his wing. Butler said, "He'd start telling me thoughts about the scene, and suddenly I've got Denzel almost as an acting coach." And so, when word spread that Luhrmann was looking for someone to play the lead role, Washington knew what he had to do. Luhrmann said, "I got a call from Denzel Washington, who gave me a cold call. I did not know Denzel, and he said, I've just worked with this guy on stage. I've never seen a work ethic like it, and I'm like, okay, I must see him." As it turns out, Butler had no idea that Washington would do that for him. "He didn't call me beforehand, he didn't call me after. It was this generous thing that he just did."